Alright guys, Luxury Generation here. I'm gonna finally make a video on how I did my intake, so in case you guys are wondering, and some helpful tips which I think would be the best intake for your 3.3 engine. Okay, so this is it pretty much. This is what I started with. It's a 8-inch pipe long and 3 inches. I got it at a muffler shop. I drilled the hole for the airflow sensor myself. They pretty much just charged me for the welds, 40 bucks. It's just for two lines. This one would be for the crank. This is for the crank. This one, I'm not sure, man. I still trying to do research on what it is, but this is pretty much the one that you have to. This one, however, if you watch my one of the videos on Reddit on catch cans, you can probably leave this out and delete it. You could probably put a breather, but it's iffy because if it says GDI, and like if you guys can see, I'm running dual catch cans. I want all that stuff out of there. All that bad stuff that comes out, I want it out of there. And look, this is what I'm talking about. So if you have a factory air intake, which I wish I had, but the problem is our factory air intake is too big. But if you had this, just port it. Porting is the way to go. I learned that myself. So pretty much it's just a pipe like this. That's all you need. That's all I started with. If you guys seen my other video, the way I have it, first I started out with this, then I just put the little 90 because I wanted to add a second catch can for the crank to get all the stuff that's coming out of the crank. But if you want a good solid cold air intake, my guess would be run it here, and as you could see right there, your wheel well is free. You could put it down there and put the filter there, or run it this way. I don't think you could run it. It has to be this way or this way. But pretty much the muffler shop did it for me. You have to heat wrap it. Now this is gonna make your car sound a little louder, but for sure guys, you're gonna have to heat wrap it. This is it. Don't heat wrap the part that goes in the silicone, because this stuff, I got it off of Amazon real cheap, so you could just wrap it. Just wrap whatever goes outside of the silicone, because this stuff, it's flaky, and if it gets in your pipe, it's going in your throttle body. Okay, and these pieces right here I got at Amazon, less than 10 bucks. And I plan to make a cold air intake, but like I was telling a lot of guys, this right here, this is the weakness. Inside there are two little doors that control open and close. That's the flow weakness. So when you make your throttle body, I have a throttle body spacer. That's it right there. I got it off the Genesis Coupe 3.8. That's the V6. That's the one you want. Now, on my first video, guys, I posted a link of a guy making it on eBay. That makes it on eBay, but I don't think he makes them anymore, because it's the cheapest deal. It's the cheapest deal. Okay, it's the cheapest deal out there. It was 60 bucks, because on reality throttle body spacers, people say that Some make power, some say they don't do anything, and I'm telling you right now, I didn't notice a difference. But a lot of the engine parts on other cars have spacers, and they make a big difference. So I mean, I'm sure it does something. The only reason why I still have mine on, because I pretty much paid for it, so I leave it there. But one of the benefits is that it's away from the engine, and it provides more. So that one I got for 60 bucks. There's one that runs for like 100 and some, close to 70, but they add it to 100 when you try and get the screws, and it's for a 3.8. Okay, this 90 right here that I run, this one is stainless. I got it off Amazon for like 10 bucks. It's stainless steel. I also heat wrapped it. It sticks. And but I think in the end I'm gonna run my exhaust stainless steel. I'm gonna try to, because those pipes that the exhaust shops use, if you use them, you got to keep your eye on them. They rust, and you don't want any of that rust in your engine. Now, as far as this filter goes, I use this filter because of the size, because it's the only one that fits. Also because it's very affordable. I use it like a throwaway filter, like you would if you had a factory. It's dirty because I really, washing it, there's a certain way of washing it, and especially with K&N filters, there's a lot of cases where people have damaged their airflow sensor because of that. So I just use that. It works fine, but also when you do your intake, it gives you the option of what type of filter you want to put on that wheel well or in the engine bay, because also you got to worry about that rain. And this other piece right there, I paid less than $10, about 12 bucks. Maybe it's a little bit more now, but it comes with the little clips. There's other types. You could get Mishimoto's, and it also gives you the advantage of making your intake bigger. Mine is all 3-inch. The hoses is 3.5. You can make it a little bit smaller, but your throttle body connection and your intake pipe has to be an expanding one. And like a tuner guy told me, your intake is just a pipe. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna give you great flow, but in the end, when it gets hot, you lose power. Which in reality, those aftermarket K&N, other main brands, they're better. They use good material, but you still shouldn't have to pay for something that's just gonna give you, in reality, the same amount of power that this is. It depends, like he told me, it depends where you put it. Where you put your intake. So if you put it in the wheel well, you're good. Now the reason our factory air intake is so good, and I say makes more power, and especially on super race cars, but it's so difficult to do, is because of this. This is why air goes in through here straight to the throttle body. But all those compartments that it has adds restriction, a lot of restriction. But this is why, and that's why I wish I had the factory, but it's too big. I'm gonna continue doing more modifications. And oh, by the way, these holders, I got these on eBay, but as you can see, they rusted real bad. I mean, there's better ones, or you can make your own, weld up your own. This spot right here, this is a good spot to use if you want to support your intake. And also I made a little metal piece that right here, so if in the future I decide to go this way, I could support it here. But I haven't pushed on my intake because I'm always constantly doing other things. But for real, I recommend the ported throttle body. That's where you really see the power. So If you do use a K&N filter, I recommend a dry one, unless you can really properly wash it. Use any filter you guys want, but dry filters are better. But like I said, I use that cheap one. I've seen a lot of other cars, Genesis Coupes, use those filters. And I drilled the hole for the, you could have your muffler shop do it. I drilled the hole for the airflow sensor. As you can see, I just put a screw. I have on the inside a ring to act like a gasket, and they pretty much charge me for the welds. And that's the throttle body spacer, and you see how mine's ported. If you look at yours, it's, trust me. But yeah, right there, there's the wheel well. Or if you want to put it here, but it's still, it's like having it like mine. It gets on my nerves, because trying to give somebody a jump or disconnect the battery, it's insane. But that would be your spot. So all in all, the intake cost me for sure no more than 80 bucks, depending on which filter you use. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I got. I got nothing new coming, so just show y'all the pieces again, and that's pretty much it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.